Step up to 10-minute life tips with Ginger.
Hello, welcome to another installment of our Step Up series, this time on life tips. I would like to share some practical tips with you on how to instantly release stress and something that I like to think of as the art of letting go. Now, all our lives are super stressful. Sometimes on the way to work, somebody can cut you off at a roundabout, or maybe your boss is too pushy and doesn't appreciate you, and that builds up stress. Now, what we tend to do as humans are a few things. One, we tell everybody about it who is willing to listen. Can you believe that idiot cut me off at the roundabout? Or you wouldn't believe what my boss did to me today. And every time we recall that, we put ourselves back to the situation when we were stressed. And there's a sidebar to this, another thing that essentially has the same outcome. And that is when people hold grudges and sometimes recall stressful or hurtful events from decades back, and they keep reliving it. Now, all these three things have one thing in common. Every time you relive the situation, you actually conjure all the same emotions, the hurt, the anger, the frustration, but also your body is producing the same stress hormones as if the stress was actually really happening. Now, stress hormones have a really useful use in our body, but actually, if you have too much of them in your bloodstream, they have a negative effect over long term. They are high blood pressure, strokes, ulcers, weakened immune system, and even cancer. So what we need to strive for is to learn to let these things go and consciously train ourselves not to get stuck into this loop of repeating that event. So let me tell you this Chinese fable, which sometimes has been attributed to Alan Watts, a philosopher, but it doesn't matter who wrote it first. So here it goes. Once upon a time, there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. And that evening, the neighbors came around to commiserate, and they said, "Oh, how sad! You know, this is most unfortunate." And the farmer shrugged his shoulders and said, "Maybe." And then the next day, the horse came back, but also bringing with it 7 wild horses. So there was joy, and the neighbors all came around and, "Oh, this is so lucky. It's a great turn of events." Sorry about that. A great turn of events. You now have 8 horses. And the farmer again shrugged his shoulders and he said, "Maybe." Anyway, the farmer's son wanted to train and break in one of the wild horses the next day. And as he was doing so, he fell off the horse and broke his leg. Again, the neighbors came and commiserated. "Oh, this is too bad. Now your son can't help you with dealing with the farm. This is really, really terrible." And the farmer, as you can guess, shrugged his shoulders and said, "Maybe." The next day, conscription officers came to conscript people into the army. And they took all the young men except the farmer's son because he had a broken leg. And then there was envy and joy and everything. The neighbors came around again and, "Oh, this is great news. You have your son for you and didn't take him to the war." And then the farmer again shrugged his shoulders and maybe. Now, the moral of this story is that you hopefully can see that this can go on and on and on. You never know which unfortunate accident will result in something really positive for you. So don't get stuck with all this frustration. Just let it go. For example, if somebody cut you off at a roundabout and now you are a car back, it can be that because of that fact, you now have missed a pile-up further down the road because you were further back in the queue. So you never know what these frustrating things can end up in. And sometimes you don't actually realize that there was a positive outcome to them. You just have to trust that it all turns out for the best. Now, another sidebar with this is about forgiveness. There's a wonderful book, which is very difficult to come by these days. So I found it on Audible as part of the Great Courses series. It's written by a heart surgeon, Dr. Mimi Guarneri, and the title is The Science of Natural Healing. And in that, she says about forgiveness, not forgiving someone is like you yourself eating rat poison and expecting the rat to die. Now, how silly is that? And you can probably imagine that if somebody hurt you out of ignorance, then they are ignorant of the fact that they have hurt you or caused you frustration. They don't know it. So by you reliving this event, it doesn't harm them. They are oblivious to it. It only harms you. And if somebody actually hurt you or caused you frustration deliberately, then again, because it was a deliberate act, they don't care. They don't care about your opinion. So by reliving it, again, it only hurts you. And this is why my suggestion to you, and this is the art of letting go, just like Elsa did in Frozen, just let it go. And don't worry, I'm not going to burst into song. I think Simon Cowell would buzz me off the stage, but really just let it go. Now, I promised you some practical techniques. So here's the first one, and that is readily available and you have access to it all the time, and that is breath. You can release stress instantly just by deep breathing. Let me show you what I mean. You can do this while people are around you. You can still pay attention to the environment, and you will breathe in, but instead of chest breathing, which most of us normally do, you will breathe in as long as if you feel as if you had air even in your belly. Yeah, it usually takes 5 or more seconds. Breathe in as long as you can make it. And then you do the same thing in reverse. You release all that air as slowly as you can. So let me show you. In, and then I can't do that while talking. So let me show you again. And as you can see, as I'm exhaling, even my shoulders relax a bit. So this is really, really useful. And do it as long as it takes you to regain your balance. Now, I can't remember if I mentioned a book about breath by James Nestor. The title of the book is Breath, a new science to an ancient art, or something like it. If you're interested in all the added benefits of breathing properly, then read that book. It's really good. Now, apart from just doing deep breathing, which you can with people around you, you may want to combine deep breathing with affirmations. So, for example, if somebody cut you off at a roundabout, you can do the deep breathing in the car because you can have your eyes open, and you can say to yourself or out loud if you're alone that I always pay attention to all the traffic around me, and I get wherever I want to get to, always safely. Or if it's a boss situation, I always do a great job. I'm great at what I do, and my colleagues appreciate me. Something along these lines. And I have to pause. Now, this next addition to deep breathing is called Zap Meditation. But it does require for you to close your eyes. So while you are doing the deep breathing, you can close your eyes, and behind your closed eyelids, you turn your eyes just slightly upward so that it's still comfortable. And while you're doing that, and if you want to know why we do that, you will need to take a Silva course. So while you're doing that, you vividly imagine your goals, possibly with all the feelings involved of how good you will feel and how good it will be your family and everybody involved in the wider surroundings. And you focus on your goals. And that's all it is. So do that for a few breaths, and you can do it multiple times a day. Now, focusing on your goals, it helps you regain your mental balance, and it will also put things in perspective. That frustrating event that you had just gone through, it was really just a bump in the road in achieving your goals. And in the end, it's all small stuff. So it's easier for you to let it go. Now, also, that for this last one, I asked you to close your eyes. Now, you may want some privacy. And if you want to have a privacy and, you are at work, for example, you can always take a comfort break and use the toilet cubicle as your own personal meditation room. So, you always can do these techniques. Now, another 2 methods I would like to share with you. One is that when we are stressed, often most people are storing their stress in their neck, and the shoulder muscles. So the other technique that I would like to show you is shoulder shrugs. So pretend that you want to touch your ears with your shoulders. So you pull them up and then let gravity drop them down, and up and down and up and down and up and down. And you do a few of those and it will help release the tension in your shoulders. And another one, and this will be the final technique for this session, is music. Choose a music that fills you with joy and just hum it under your breath. So if you are in an office, if you just do that humming to yourself, the next person won't even hear it, but it will make you feel better. And if you can, just put on headphones and play the music for yourself. Now, my go-tos are Walking on Sunshine from Katrina and the Waves, the theme tune from Friends, which is by Rembrandt's, I'll Be There For You, and Happy by Pharrell Williams. And he has a brilliant 24-hour video, so if you're super upset, you can just put that on YouTube for the whole day and you'll be happy. Now, these are the techniques for today, and I have a challenge for you. Next time when you get into a stressful situation, use one of these techniques and let us know how you did with them. I would really, really love to hear about your successes. Wish you loads of successes with these techniques and wish you a stress-free life.
Subscribe to our YouTube Step Up series. This video is by Silva Method in Great Britain.